At the time of writing this story, Scarlett and I had known each other for 4 years. I had graduated from university a few years earlier and was trying to make a career change, and Scarlett had graduated and gotten a job at a flower store by the time of this story. It's a well-known chain, and if I establish myself well, I can have a good career, she told me with a smile. I was happy for her, as floristry was her favorite thing to do. And it was what she wanted to dedicate her life to. We were also planning to get married in a year and were already saving money for a wedding trip to Thailand. Then one evening, Scarlett came home from work later than usual and said, "I am now not just a florist, but the director of the store." Wow. Congratulations. I was very surprised and delighted at the same time. And David, the owner of the business, said that he is watching me, and if all goes well, will make me a manager in the network. He has several businesses, and he needs beginners like me. Of course, I was very surprised. After all, Scarlett had only been working for a few months. But it didn't even occur to me to suspect her of anything. And not because I am naive, but Scarlett was always very correct, modest, and diligent. She was far from betrayal, bitchiness, and cheating. From this situation, I was distracted by a large amount of work at work. We worked on a very serious project, and I tried my best because the boss promised me a promotion. But in a few months, I was waiting for another interesting news. Scarlett had now been appointed manager of an entire network. "You can't imagine how happy I am," she chirped. Of course, I was happy for her, but a suspicion had already crept into my soul. Well, I'm not that naive. Well, and then it was just like a movie. A couple days after this news, I was handed an anonymous letter at work, which was passed through a courier. When I read it, I just fell into despair. It stated that Scarlett was making a career out of bed, and if I wanted proof, I should come to the hotel tonight. It had a name, address, and room number. 7 o'clock. I sat for a while, trying to gather my thoughts. That's when the phone rang. It was Scarlett. "Honey, I have a lot of work to do today, so I'm going to be late. Don't worry about me. I'll take a cab. Bye." I didn't give away my condition in any way, but after the call, I decided that I would go to this hotel in the evening and check everything out. After work, I went straight to the hotel mentioned in the letter. So, at 7:00 p.m., I was standing in front of the specified room. There was a knock on the door and a male voice asked who. "I'm from the front desk. There's a letter for you." "What letter?" the man asked. The door opened and an obese middle-aged man appeared in front of me. I quickly pushed him away and entered the room. "What do you think you're doing?" he shouted, but I didn't listen to him anymore. Instead, I entered the room and saw Scarlett, who was lying in bed slightly covered by a blanket. Her eyes were rounded with surprise. A man ran into the room after me and started screaming. I pushed him away and left the room. I came to my senses on the street. Can you imagine how I felt at that moment? My gaze fell on a bar that was across the street from the hotel. I stayed there until late at night. Back home in a cab, Scarlett was already waiting for me. As soon as I walked in, she jumped on me. "Where have you been? I was so worried about you. You should have answered your phone. Scarlett, you broke our lives and you're talking about some phone calls." I didn't break anything, and I meant well. So cheating is for the best? You don't understand. It's my boss, and it's his way of testing the level of trust. Scarlett, do you even hear and understand what you're saying? We had a fight, and very badly. I've already decided for myself that I won't live with such a girl. The next day was a day off, and having collected all my things, I took them to my parents. Scarlett was crying and on her knees, apologizing, but I didn't want to be around her. A week later, I rented another apartment. Scarlett still called for a long time, even came to see me at work. But soon she gave up this empty idea. I know that now she works as a manager. General acquaintances told me that Scarlett started dating some guy, but it didn't work out. Now she's actively looking. I got promoted after all. But I'm not in a hurry to start a serious relationship. I decided to approach it very seriously. By the way, who wrote that anonymous letter? I never found out. Perhaps it was done by a well-wisher or well-woman from among those who also applied for the manager's position. As you can see, even a seemingly modest, serious girl can change. So be careful. Be careful.